I begin my assessments with a conversation with a parent. I'm the communication expert, but they're the expert in their child. I want to know what their concerns are and why they've brought their child to me. I'll then have them fill out intake forms, which I will review and see if I need to ask any follow-up questions. Maybe there was something that they mentioned in the forms that they didn't mention in our initial conversation. I then turn my attention to the child. I love Pop-Up Pirate. It's just a crowd pleaser. All kids seem to love it. Or I'll just get out a bag of toys, which just so happens to be the Hodson assessment of phonological patterns, which is my standardized single word assessment that I like to give. A lot of people also like the Goldman Fristow. You could give the DEEP, the diagnostic evaluation of articulation and phonology. You don't necessarily have to do a standardized single word assessment given your setting. A lot of times in schools, you'll need it for eligibility, or if you're in a clinic or a private practice, they'll need it for insurance reasons, but you don't necessarily have to do a standardized single word assessment. You can have an informal measure of some of those productions, but you will want to have a baseline of how they're able to produce a lot of different sounds at the sound and the word level for a comparison down the road when you want to show progress. I tend not to do an objective conversation sample. An objective conversation sample is something like percent consonant correct. You can do a word list. You can do 100 utterances in a conversation, which is a great way to get a percentage and also to kind of put some numbers on the child in terms of baseline and then showing progress in the future. I tend to do a subjective conversation sample, meaning I'm just jotting down, do I understand 50% of what the child says, 75% of what they're saying? That's my clinical opinion, my clinical judgment. And then I'm also jotting down some errors that I'm noticing. Am I hearing distortions? Do I think it's articulation deficits? Am I hearing patterns of errors? Do I think it's phonology? Is it both? Which it oftentimes is. And then after I give that standardized single word assessment, I'm oftentimes going to give a polysyllabic or multisyllabic word probe. This is informal. It's not going to give me a score, but it's going to give me an idea of how they're producing 3, 4, and sometimes even 5-syllable words, because what we know about single word assessments is oftentimes they have 1 and 2 syllable words, but we want to know more about how they're sequencing some of those longer words.